Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Keep the Mic On. I am simply Sherry, and as you know, if you've watched us before or if you're back, welcome, welcome, welcome. Of course, we are now live here on Facebook and YouTube. If you are listening to us on Spotify through the podcast, we welcome you in as well. We are here every Sunday live in conversation with an amazing artist, and I am really excited about tonight. I even went to go find something. I have things.
Oh. Okay.
So, my week is called From Behind the Microphone, where we take the time to get to know the person behind the art, the person behind the performance. I have been trying to get them double P's together for months now, so I'm really excited. Trying to get to know the person behind the performance. We really get to, because performers are people too. So we take the time to get to know them. Now's the time. I'm not going to take Nikki's line. I am going to throw our Cash App down here at the bottom. I'm just the first look at that. But for now, since I talked about it already, let me send it to Jakarta.
Hello, everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And since we're live, you will have an opportunity to talk to our artists. So be getting your questions together. So at the end, you'll have an opportunity to talk to the artist as well. My week is called Poets and Platforms, where I interview poets who have platforms for all different types of art. Did I say my name was Kanika Jakarta? My name is Kanika Jakarta. Did I say that? Okay. Mm-hmm. And I am so excited when I sometimes I don't be knowing, and I see the flyer of the person that's going to be our next guest. I see all the flyers come through, and I'll be like, oh, because if I wasn't on the show, I would be watching too. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you tell your mama and them, all your friends and your enemies to join us right now, because it's going to be a fantastic show tonight, interview and such and things. Listen, we have been doing this since March 2020, since the panoramic happened, and we decided that we were going to keep it going. But everybody that comes on to this platform, including us, we volunteer our time for free. So people do not get paid to do this. However, these platforms are not free. So at the bottom, you will see our Cash App scrolling. So if you would like to drop in some dollars so that we can keep this platform going, so we can continue to keep the mic on, I'd appreciate it. And so would all the artists and my co-hostesses. I am going to kick it to the one, the only Miss Cayenne.
We are nuts.
I know, right? Can you tell we are excited? Oh my gosh, I am Miss Cayenne. I'm a poet, and I know it. And as Kinnicky has already stated, every week is exciting. It's exciting to us because we know who we're bringing or who's coming on is going to share some wonderful nuggets. You're just going to walk away with something. So, and I'm excited because I get to meet new people. Meet is relative nowadays with virtual settings, but I get to meet people that I don't really know. And so as well. So some of us are being introduced and some are just being reintroduced. Tonight's night's going to be no different than all the other exciting nights, right? So my segment is Passion Projects, the root behind the why. That's second Sundays, and we get an opportunity to ask the questions of why, kind of get the story behind the artist, because as Simply Sherry says, artists are people too, right? Mm-hmm. Performers are people too. I'm trying to get the alliteration that you got. Mm-hmm. So I look forward to joining us next week, but right now we're focused on tonight's great night, and I am going to pick it to the one and the only. There's no one like her, girl.
Hey everyone, how you doing? If you don't know me, I'm Danielle Reed, also known as Girl Genius. Nice to have everyone here this evening. This is my week, and it is called Let's Talk About the ... Usually books, except tonight. I am excited because the person I have on the show has a book and some plays and some soundtracks and some other things. Like, we have projects, like full-blown projects, and I'm going to talk about these things, and I'm so super excited. So I am going to here. Let's bring you in right quick here. How about that?
We're gonna go ahead and take us ourselves out.
Yes, I'm gonna read the bio thing. So tonight's guest, I'm gonna read your bio over here, is a poet named Nate, who is absolutely fantastic. Multifaceted artist from Baltimore with a diverse artistic background, poet, music producer, songwriter, creative director, filmmaker, curator. I told you all the things, all the projects. Known for his poetry productions, bringing both nationally ranked and amateur poets together with the goal to create a space where poetry can be experienced authentically. He has 2 short films as a creative director and music producer for Unveiling of God and Black Girls Country, both of which I will talk about. I'll delve into a little bit. And he has his first book, which is called Anticipational Love Poems. I cannot read, I swear to God. Which is also available. His website is above my, this way. I always get confused because it's the exact opposite of what you think it's going to be. So his website is above my head, and his Cash App will be at the, and socials will be at the bottom, as per usual. So I'm going to bring you into the stream, sir. Hey.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
Fantastic. I'm great. I'm going to step to the side and let you do you. So everybody, I am so pleased to bring you a poet named Nate.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing today? We're gonna start off with a poem, right? So we're gonna talk about it more later, but I'm just gonna get right into the poem. And yeah, I would imagine she'd smell like forever. Kissed by the sun on a Sunday, see, there's no analogy to clarify her radiance. So just picture the most beautiful woman ever. Heart stopper. None of you women can top her. More valuable than silver, diamonds, gold, or copper. Praying woman, so you know God's got her. I'd imagine she tastes like Willy Wonka's everlasting God stopper with a body Victoria would give up her secrets for. Eyes one might assume all the portals to heaven. See, I've been imagining a blessing. The day I can be on my Martin Lawrence, telling all these other harlots get to step in, call up my brethren, no Lonnie love, and tell him my nigga it's time. And my eyes, she'll look as if Jesus had a daughter. I'd imagine she'd be a genius, brilliant enough to solve the equations in my heart and the riddles of my thoughts, making me a better man, standing tall where I fall short. So yes, I am under the assumption that you've already assumed that this is just another anticipational love poem. Seemed like God has had me on life support since I was born, knowing that I couldn't live without you. So I just been sitting here planning shit without you. I'd imagine typically we spend autumns in Italy. This imagery, I see it so vividly. Cups of tea in our cottage cuddling, listening to oldies but goodies. You're wearing my pullover hoodie, candles lit as the sun dip. We kiss, and it still feels like the first time. But don't mind me, I've just been imagining being complete. And she is the missing puzzle piece. At least that's what I perceive her to be. Unless I just been listening to the Temptations way too much. This is just my imagination running away with me. In peace. Yeah, so
Yay. Oh, I just messed myself up. I did it. My bad. I did it. I hit the mouse and I hit it again.
oh, you good.
First of all, thank you for being here.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Actually, you have been on the short list of like, yay, we need to bring you in. So
I understand and I appreciate y'all asking me to be here. Let's just start off with that for real. Because I'm personally not a online person, as we'll talk about that more, I guess. We'll get there. Mm-hmm. So like I'm really appreciative. I normally wouldn't do these, I don't do these things a lot. But when you called and told me what was going on, I had no choice but to, appreciate and honor everyone on the team, everyone on the show. Just because I'm here because of y'all. So let's just get that out of the way. So yeah.
Listen, this is of course, this is strictly like I said, this is strictly a conversation.
Yeah.
No cut cards, no frills, no nothing. We just we bring people we like on the show and be like, listen, let's chat for a little bit. Let's talk about your project, the things you have going on. and it's always a good time. And like I said, usually I would have a glass of wine, but tonight we're on on Gatorade.
It's all good.
But here's what I want to start with.
Mm.
I usually have a preset of questions, but here's what I want to start with. Your name is A Poet Named Nate, right? That's your
Yeah.
stage name. Cool. But you are more than a poet. You do all the things, like
Yeah.
literally all the things, right?
Uh,
So we'll start with the book, but we will dig into all the things.
all right.
So first and foremost, I always like, what's this? Just because I already said it, but say it again. What's the name of the book? Where can we find it?
All
We're
right.
gonna push that up.
The book is called Anticipational Love Poems. It's literally a book of anticipation love poems. We're going to really dive into it today as much as we can. And you can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Barnes and Nobles. You can find it at New Being Human, which I'm at right now. It's the store that I manage. Um, so you can find it here. It's at Charm City Books. Is also at Cahoots Brothers. Yeah. So it's in a couple locations, physical locations you can go get it. But yeah, it's also online.
All right. So we've gotten this out the way. So what made so where do we want to what direction do we want to go? There's so many questions I have. So since we're talking about the book, why love poems? Because you find like it's rare. Like you find there are a few poets who do love poems. So why
Mhm.
love poems?
It really was like, honestly, it was really a snowball effect. I had wrote the first poem, which was literally the first poem in the book. And if we being totally honest, I really don't remember where I was mentally when I started writing it. I just started writing it. Um, and then from there, as I was thinking about um, love, 'cause I try to take an idea and like break it down as much as possible. And I started thinking about love, and then, with my close friends and just watching movies and stuff, you see all different type of perspectives of love. So then I went on to write another poem that was similar. And so from there, it just brainstormed. It's like from different. I wanted, once I got like two or three, I was like, okay, this is a story, or um, there's something more than just one poem. So then I tried to just think about love in its entirety and think about other people's perspectives of love and try to um, create a story out of it.
I think that's a topic we probably don't talk about enough.
Yeah.
We
Um,
probably don't talk about love enough. Which is why I started the interview that way. Like we do not discuss love enough.
if we being honest, I think it's not being talked about enough simply because, like Kwandani Fidel says, he says, "Love." He has a poem called "Love Is Not Enough," and uh, I see love like icing on a cake. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't really need icing to have a cake. You know, so like love is just like the icing on it. So it's like it's so many other things that we gotta get into, um, and that we do get into within our relationships, not even just romantically, like just in our relationships that come before love. Um, so like it's not talked about enough because it's kind of like sometimes on a lot of people it's not the first couple things that they require if you're being true. And if you're talking about real love and how to fully love, is like other things that people require even before we get to love or
You
after
think
we
people
get to love.
prioritize you think people prioritize stuff above and below? That's crazy. You would think it. I don't know. Do you get the sense that sometimes, like, I was gonna sort of narrows down to poets, but you think even like you think sometimes people are just scared to talk about it? Like
Yes.
poets don't write. There are a few poets that write love poems, but I'm saying even outside of that, like people don't have discussions about love and what that means, and not in the romantic sense. I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
It's too deep. People, you know, everybody has, that something. For the most part, by the time we get, especially we get into our mid 20s and beyond, and you had a couple situations of love in any capacity, not just romantically, and then once you start to begin to learn yourself and know yourself, and you know I feel like some people are apprehensive of talking about love because they once we start talking about it, now you asking questions about, okay, so if this is how I'm feeling about love, am I getting that from the people that are around me? Is that real? Am I, what I'm saying? And it's really a touchy situation when we talk about um, what is love for us as individuals, because everybody has their own idea of what love is and what kind of love they need. Um, and sometimes some people can ask for a certain type of love that really may not be for them, and we don't want to talk about that.
but we should. Isn't our job as poets to have the hard conversations? You think, or is that
Um,
not for us to? Or is that not for us to touch on? If that's not where we've been, if that makes sense. Like I always feel like the job of poets is to talk about the things that like other people can't necessarily talk about and make it and make it relatable.
mhm.
But is that not our job if it's not something that we've had, you know, we've delved into completely? Like, do I not talk about heartbreak because I've never had that happen? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I have,
As I mean,
but
just as a creative, you can, sometimes that's the beauty of it, because you can create it, you can imagine it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what going to get this what this book really is anticipating it. So where so when you meet someone, or or any however the case may be, habit stats may be, you have multiple different ways that love can play out in your life, right? And you honestly don't know. Like when you met Joe Smo or Miss Lady somewhere, um, and you was like, oh, okay, but you never knew how that love will play out. You never knew what type of lover that person would be from the go, or what type of love. You just don't know until you start dating that someone, or dating that person, or getting to know that person, or whatever, however type of relationship y'all gonna evolve in. So the book is just anticipating whatever it may be, not just for me, but from a whole perspective, is like, romantically is like, um, you don't even know what type of things that when you get involved with someone, that they'll pull out of you, or that they'll bring, or they'll create within you, or help you blossom. Um, so you got to is this book is literally anticipating all the type of love, and then not and then from anticipating from a place of research and source, like, um, some of these uh, stories of love and perspectives of love come from movies that I watch. Some of them come from my friends or people that I've seen from a distance, or is this sometimes one is a couple poems that is so I'm sorry, I know I'm is long with it, but I'm answering your question of like, yes, because um I know one of the poems that I wrote in the book, I was just chilling, on my laptop working one day, and I seen a couple walk across the street, and I just thought about, just based upon perspective and just a mere observation, I thought about, what's that love might, what that love might be like, you know what I'm saying, and taking that and writing a poem. So now, it's just all anticipating. You never know. So I wanted to write a book about love and not knowing and the unknowing of
Y'all,
love.
for those who can't see me, I'm nodding my head.
Okay.
I totally
Okay.
understand
Yeah. Let me
exactly what
know
you're
because
talking about.
I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit. So let me know if
No,
you need me.
no. Listen. I told you this is literally a conversation all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Some of the craziest jewel dropping things, and I say jewels and jaws. So we've had all kinds of things happen on this show, and it's
Mm,
wonderful.
yeah.
This is the conversation. Like I said, be yourself, get yourself a drink. Everybody sit back and listen. You know.
Yeah.
So no, but that's interesting because I was like, I am, like I said, I normally bring authors on this show,
mhm,
and so we delve into the books and we talk about the topics and I like digging into process and finding out like how people, um, where they get their inspiration from. You
mhm,
know what I mean? And like I said, this is not a topic we've had. We did have a romance. We did have a romance writer on here, like way back in the beginning. But we don't ever really talk about love in the most general sense. And we've been here. This is the third year we've been doing the show at this point.
uh-huh.
So I don't think we've ever had this kind of conversation. So it's just really it's fascinating.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna ask you because I'm nosy. What are you waiting for?
What am I waiting
What do
for?
you? Yes, if it's
What, I,
anticipational, what is the thing that would, go, oh, look at this. I'm not waiting anymore. What am I waiting for? What are you waiting for?
um, that's the
This
thing.
is me being nosy.
You don't know. I don't. It's not that I wouldn't say that I don't know, but to some extent, I don't know. Uh, to be honest, I be, I work a lot and I do a whole bunch of things. So it's like, um, I try not to, even though I do because, clearly I wrote the book, but on a day to day, sometimes I try not to, really worry about it or think about it too much because I don't know, it's like, especially for, if we just for example, or to clarify, it's like, let's just look at it from a physical standpoint and physical beauty. You know what I'm saying? Um, some people have this idea of who their significant other is going to be, look like, or down to the T, and 5 years later you see that person and that's not the person that they with, or that the person that they love or enjoy spending time with. So it's like I'm anticipating because I don't know. I don't, and I'm not trying to like really box it in, because it's all about what I need for me. So I really don't know yet because I ain't really there, if that makes sense.
Like I said, that was just me being nosy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I'm still.
I wasn't expecting like, I wasn't expecting like a whole, like, trust me, that was just me being
Oh
nosy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, I'm still
You could
anticipating,
have had
but
your eye. You could have had your eye on somebody, and I could have just been throwing you under the bus. My bad.
oh
I'm
no,
messing
no,
with
no, no,
you.
no,
I'm
no,
kidding.
no, no.
I kid.
Yeah.
I promise you, I'm kidding. Um, but I back to we were talking about this whole process for the book. Like, um, so let me see which direction I want to go with this because, like I said, I normally have these things, but you do so many things, and let's talk about. Let's see here. I know you do, and we'll touch on this in a second. I know you also do music, right? Does the process for like putting together the music look different than the process you use to put together like books and poems?
Yes.
I know. I mean, I know it's the whole action is different, but
No. Yeah.
like,
No.
I,
No. I know. I know. I know what you meant. I know what you meant. And yes, it's totally different. Because with the writing, it's more so um the technique and um genuine love of words and and being able to put together something that makes sense not only to myself but to others, and being able to construct and being able to convey using words. um and that's something that's so much more visually, especially within this book. Like everything in this book is on purpose. There's no mistakes. There's no errors. Every single word is placed a specific place for a specific reason.
I
For
love it.
real, I'm not even joking. We can be here all night talking about how detailed this book really is.
I'm
Um,
very much like that. I'm very, very much like that. Like every word I use is deliberate and
yeah,
there for a very specific reason.
yeah. No, I spent like weeks taking out ands and c's and does and this unnecessary word, just critically for flow. Because like um I started, or I am a performing spoken word poet. I'm not a literary. I didn't start off in literary. I didn't even plan to write a book. um but once I did, and took my time and understanding, it's a totally difference between spoken word and page poetry. you know, and then when you're trying to, transfer one to the other or vice versa, it doesn't always translate. So a lot of my editing, um, initially was editing the poems to fit both stage and page.
I had to stop doing that. I am a writer by profession.
Mm,
Like I've been doing this for a long time. Let's just put
mm,
it that way, a very long time. Since I was 15, I've been a professional writer,
mm,
right? And I will tell you now that I write for the most part the same way I speak and then go back and edit. But what's on the
yeah,
page isn't necessarily what you're going to get on stage because I consistently modify for whatever the tone is for the night. And if that means I got to chop a couple of words, like I know the poem, but if I chop a
mm,
couple of words or, edit a little bit for flow, you're not necessarily going to get it word for word.
no, not at
So,
all.
I understand the concept, the process here,
Not
but I had to stop doing that.
not at
Like I
all.
really had to stop doing that.
No, not at all. It's not for that specific reason. It's for the reasons of, like, I think about it as if I was recording it. So I think that's where the music will
Mhm.
connect, or I think about it if like I'm performing it one time. So that is the edit that I'm putting in the book. So if I'm perfectly trying to perform the poem as I designated it to be and write it, that's what's in the book, as far as like making sure it both works both ways. But like, what I'm saying, if you really, read the book and understand and know my poems, and you see me on any given night, you be like, and you know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, it definitely depends, but I try to be as meticulous as possible because this is my first book, and I'm very particular about what I put out into the physically into the universe. Having a lot of ideas is cool and stuff
Very
like that,
much.
but like when you put something else out physically, I wanted to be a good representation. I just really took my time and wanted it to feel on purpose. Um,
Yes.
This is very, it's
I brought
very
up,
intentional.
I brought that up because it's weird because as somebody who's a writer first and then a performer,
Hmm.
it feels like it's backwards, but it's actually not.
Yeah, no, it's
Like,
actually
you know what I
like one
mean?
and the same. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually one and the same. But to answer your question, because with music, it's really all a feeling. You know, I'm really trying to understand the feeling of what was happening. You know, it's like when you go to the movies, you know, you see it, you know, certain sounds that you're gonna hear when you go to see a scary movie, certain sounds you're gonna hear when you see a comedy, certain type of tones, you know, when you go into the club or when you're going to, you know, the wine bar. Like so, you know, and I like now I'm trying to um recreate feeling, you know, because music is just what you feel just out loud. So I'm just recreating feeling. So it's a totally different process. Like with the films and doing the music for the films, it was an initial part. It was literally just tons and tons, like hella conversations. You know, we were just talking minutely about the idea, and I'm just like, sometimes I'm not even talking. Sometimes I'm just listening to Nia. She wrote and directed the films, listening to her idea and her just tell me explain the idea again for the 15th time. Now go deeper, go there, or take this there. You know, I'm just really getting the minute of trying to almost like Inception, trying to um, implant the idea or the feeling of the idea as she would see it in my mind, so now I can create. So it's just it's all about
Yes.
feeling, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're talking. We have not had Nia June on here. We need to. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
throw that in the universe.
So
Hi,
Nia,
Nia.
so Nia,
Hi. We need to get you on the
Nia's
show too.
different.
Um,
Nia is
she
different. Nia is
she
different.
she is she is a special kind of talent. So for those listening at home, she is a filmmaker from Baltimore.
Yeah. Filmmaker,
Phenomenal artist. Period.
filmmaker, author, poet,
Slash dancer slash
dancer.
slash all. She's one of
Yeah,
these slash all the things.
yeah.
I've seen
It's
her do
different.
poetry. I've seen her dance, and I know she does phenomenal work film wise.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
she
she's an
and
amazing, amazing creative.
yeah, and she's my newt, and we're really um even Kirby, as well, I can speak for Kirby as the cinematographer for our projects. We're really minute about the things, the things that we put out into the universe. Like I just said about the book, like both of our films, like everything is intentional. Is not a
I
lot
was
that
just
you're
about
going
to
to
say.
see from us. Um, Not anything at all. It's intentional. Even if it wasn't, even if it, universal, the universe aligned for something to happen. The divinity of a moment, of course, is there. But like everything else is very intentional. It's very critical, and we're thinking about our ideas and trying to expand our ideas and really flush them out to create something that is tangible and be able to be received.
And weren't both of the films? Didn't they both receive awards and or nominations? Right.
Uh,
I know that at least one of them was at Maryland Film Festival. I do know
yes,
that.
yes, the Unveiling of God. It just entered its fifth or sixth film festival. It was in the Maryland Film Festival. That was the first one. We just got into Oakland Film Festival. Um, but unveiling a Black Girl's Country was just recently purchased by the Baltimore Museum of Art, part of that permanent collection. So
I did see that.
so the film will be going into the museum soon. Um, so yeah, that was the biggest two things for those.
I'm typing them in the chat so that people know where to go find these things.
Oh yeah, 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 most definitely. A Black Girl's Country is free. You can get that on YouTube right now. You just type in go on YouTube. A Black Girl's Country is gonna pop right up. The Valen of God, like I said, is still in some film festivals. Um, so it's just a matter of time. Once the film festival's finished and stuff like that, we'll be showing it more. Um, yeah.
What other are you working on? Another one or no? Are you working on another film or no?
Yeah.
I know. I'm throwing it out there. You were
Yeah,
working on another film, yes.
yeah. I can openly say yeah. Normally I can. Normally when it's certain places is, but yeah,
I'm not going to delve too much. I just want to know. I was going to ask
yeah.
at some
That
point,
was
like,
it.
what other projects you're working on? Are film, book, this one first, but are you planning now that you've got the first one kind of out the way? It becomes much easier after the first one's done. I promise you. The process becomes so much easier after the first one's out the way.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. It depends. It all depends on time, timing and space. For real, for me, I spent 5 years on this book. You know, and 3 of the years was
And then in 5 years from now, I expect to see another one. I didn't put a cap on time. I just asked you when you
yeah.
plan on doing another one.
I don't know if I'm doing another one in the space that I am now, it might take like 10 years. I ain't gonna front. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
We
I'm
didn't
not
even
saying
delve into
no.
the fact. No, we didn't even delve into the fact that on top of all of this, you do plays and
Oh
productions. We didn't
yeah,
even delve into that part yet.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't be having it. That's what I'm saying. If I have the time to sit and write, because writing for me is such a um I like to be zoned in. I like to stay in the moment. Like with most of the poems in the book I wrote around the same time, around 2000 uh 17, 18 is the majority of the book was written in. I had the majority of the poems, like 95% of the book was written by the end of 2018, going into 2019. Um, so it was just a matter of like making sure it was good. And that takes forever for me. It takes forever for me because it is, um, yeah, like I said, everything is very particular. Like I was very minute on all the details. Um, yeah, there's hidden poems in here. Um, there's poems that
Ooh, yeah.
connect to each other. There's multiple different ways to read the story. You can read it front to back, back to front. It's a cycle. It repeats. Like literally on just how the page, the word adjustments are. Everything is for a reason. I wanted to really connect it um, to love and how love works because you never know. I wanted to set up the book as if you just live in life and how love comes into your life. You really don't know, but you have to anticipate it and um, yeah, go from there.
I love that you've built things into things into things. I I have I want to say my first, it was my very first project, my very first project, um, which is coming up on like a really crazy milestone anniversary. Um, but my very first CD it's called, it's built around, if you've ever heard me do the backwards poem, it's built around the backwards
Mm,
poem. It's called Subversive. And so there's hidden poems in there, there's hidden tracks,
mm,
there are people that had that project that didn't realize until a year in that there's hidden tracks at the end of this that aren't listed. There's like 3 or 4
yeah,
hidden tracks in there.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
buried all
yeah,
in um,
yeah,
this, and it's
yeah,
insane.
yeah,
So I like when I like, and I also very much appreciate when somebody takes the time to go, okay, um, you know, this is a project for me, but I want to give you something to, or a reason to keep coming back to this, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
like me books, like I'll read the book and then I'll set it down and I'll come back and read it again. I was like, I remember something, I remember something, or something just sticks out and it makes me something that makes me want to come back to it again and again and again because I know that there's something I've missed and I can't figure it out,
mm,
is fantastic.
yeah. So like I'm music first, and so even as I look at the book in a sense for analogy as my first album, you know, and like the artists I look up to, the artists that I, really am passionate about, all have these, legendary projects. You know,
Who we talking about?
you you could talk about Stevie Wonder, you could talk about Jay-Z, you could talk about, just the greatest Whitney Houston. Like that's how I like to really kind of like close the gap between my but like what I assume in my concept of the greatest artists. Like when you talk about the greatest artists, they have great albums. They don't have good albums. They don't have, that's something we can bump. They have like albums that compete with any genre, any time of day. Like, the best artists have these. Um, and when I
Oh, I
look
got
at those,
you. Go ahead.
and when I look at those, go back and look at those projects, like, Dark Twisted Fantasy, like Songs in the Key of Life, um, and so on and so forth. It's like it's so intentional.
You are the
And so
perfect person to ask this question that I have this question that is not part of this interview. It's something
okay,
totally separate. But you
okay,
are like listening to you talk about this is like the perfect person to ask this question. So I have this icebreaker question. If you
okay.
ever want to delve into somebody's, like really pick somebody's brain and really find out how they think, right? So here's what you ask. You
Mm-hmm.
go, name 5 albums, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to be like any genre, any artist, doesn't matter, right? We're not talking about the greatest album of all time. We're talking about name 5 that you can listen to from beginning to end without skipping tracks.
Oh, okay.
That's a whole different conversation, and this is the greatest thing ever.
Ooh.
Because I'll tell you, there's some ones that don't, they'll come up and like I really like this as a whole project, but there's at least 1 or 2 songs that if I'm not moved for it, I'll skip it. Like not that.
Um,
We want like front to back, this album is perfection. I will not, if you put it on right now, I could drive from here to California and not skip a track. 5 of them. I think I have 7, but
wow.
yeah, that's what I said. You really want to find out how somebody thinks, especially people who are musicians and producers and do, yes, find out how they think. What can you listen to and not skip a track? And you got 5 picks. I'm
Wow.
laughing because I can see the look on your face.
Wow. Jeez.
I'll
Now,
throw
cause
you. I'll
now,
throw
cause
you.
now in my head, I'm like, I'm nitpicking. Like, I'm nitpicking like shit right now.
You can nitpick all you want. I'm
That's what
gonna
I'm
tell you
saying.
where.
Cause I'm like, oh,
I'll give you mine. I'll
okay.
give you mine. Okay. Like I said, we ain't talking like whatever I pick. We're not talking like, oh my God,
Mm,
I can argue that something's better than something else. It's just what can I
yeah,
listen to front to back?
yeah.
All right, here you go. Erykah Badu's first album,
Okay.
front to back. D'Angelo's first album, right? Front to
Mm,
back. They are my favorite group in the entire world, but the only one I know front to back I will not skip is what is it? Oh my God. Jesus, I had a brain fart. I had a brain fart. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna argue about this. I'll give you the other one. I'll come back to that one.
okay.
Graduation.
Okay.
Graduation. Everybody argues with me about this, but graduation is the only one I can actually listen to front to back and not skip tracks.
Mm, okay.
So if we're gonna go there, graduation. Um, Everybody argues with me about this one too. The Score.
The Score.
Not Miseducation, The Score.
Ah.
Fuji's The Score.
Mm,
Not Miseducation, because there's at least 2 songs in there that if I am not in the mood to listen to either one of these, I will skip.
mm,
It's not that I don't like the album. It's not that it has nothing to do with anything else other than whether or not I will skip tracks. Thriller.
mm. Okay.
Purple Rain. And I'm still missing one, and my brain is not like the name of the album is Low End Theory. Like Jesus Christ, I was thinking Midnight Marauders. No, not that one. Low End Theory.
Low End Theory
Low
about
End
who?
Theory. Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest.
Yes, Low End Theory is my all-time #1 favorite
Mm,
album ever in life,
mm.
and
I've
like
only
I
heard
would
that once. I gotta
probably
go back to that.
I could listen to
Mm,
that all day. I know every single word to that joint. every track, every word. I've listened to it on repeat enough times. I've probably burned a hole in the CD I did have. Now I have it on, Spotify, of course. But yeah, that album is perfection to me.
Yeah.
But my favorite song by them is actually on a different album. It's actually on Midnight Marauders, which is weird as hell, but that's what happens. My favorite song is Electric Relaxation. That's on Midnight Marauders.
Okay, you got me thinking. I'm really puzzled.
Yeah.
All right, so
and I listen to when I tell you I listen to everything, I listen to everything. Like, I am a huge Earth, Wind, and Fire fan, so you're surprising I'm not saying an Earth, Wind, and Fire album, but there's stuff that if I'm not in the mood for it, I will skip.
Yeah. So I know for sure that we got the Honey album from the Ohio Players, with the one with Sweet Sticky Thing on it.
Yep.
Yeah, that album right there, you feel me? I go up and down the Beltway on that joint, especially on a good day.
I have to go back and listen to that one again.
Especially on a good day, because
I know that album, but I have to listen to it from the beginning.
I'm gonna say Frank Ocean, Channel Orange. That's a great album that you can it runs right into each other.
It does.
Dang, this is hard. Oh, you know what's a good album that people low key? I want to say this one, but I don't want to say this one because it wouldn't be in my top 10, probably, or top 20 albums to run straight through. But now that I'm thinking about it, like, what's the name of it though? Damn.
Who's the artist?
It's an Alicia Keys album.
Oh. What's on it?
Dang. Now I'm having brain farts too. But it's like the third or fourth one. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's the joint where Wait Till You See My Smile. It got the Beyonce joint on there. The love song joint with her, Beyonce.
It's not Diary of Alicia Keys.
No, even the other side, that one's up there too. But
I'm looking.
Oh, also motherfucking Robert Glasper's Radio 3. Oh my god. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a new one. I'm thinking of new albums I've been listening to that just be in rotation. Like that joint right there.
You know who's on that? You know who's on that album? The one that just, Teresa the Songbird's on
Radio 3.
She's on the album that just got nominated for a Grammy.
That's hard. I didn't know that. Yeah, I know.
Yes,
I know.
Yes,
I thought that not too long ago.
Her and sorry, Teresa the Songbird and Queen Sheba are on that last Robert Glasper album that just got nominated for a Grammy.
I'm gonna go back and look at the credit. Okay, congratulations. So Teresa Songbird, give her flowers too. She's different.
Absolutely, she's different. Listen, she's not only been on this show, but I've known her. Good God, almost 20 years at this point. I've known her like almost 2 decades.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. First time I seen her, I was like, let me get some fish and spaghetti.
I believe she's on that last album. I think it's the last one. I'm going to Google myself just to make sure that I am correct. But yeah, I know that she was on the list for the whole. I know she was on the whole Grammy nominee list because we were talking about that when she was on the show last.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. Like she's really, it's the. That's another reason why I'm so critical about my book and my writing, because the writers that I know, the writers that I'm around, y'all really different. you know, and that's one of the reasons, you know, why I was like, when you asked me to be a part, I was like, all right, bet I'm figure it out, because you know, the writing is really phenomenal. Um, these are some of the best writers in the world, and it's an honor to be around and to know y'all for real. Like Teresa is just really different.
I'm gonna say I'm honored. Like I said, every person that I know that we've had on this show, that we are friends with, we are very, very, very fortunate to have some of the most talented people on the planet. Literally,
Like literally. I be trying to tell
literally.
people. I really be trying to tell people. They just you know when you don't have funding and proper budgets and proper uh just overall industry of a certain niche like poetry, like people don't really understand, like, you know, when we talk about these writers and their accolades and how good they are as a writer. You know what I'm saying? You walking down the street and you come into an open mic and you seeing, you know, Black Chakra and Lady Breon and Mecca and, you know, all these phenomenal writers, even today and before. You know, I came like right after Warm Wednesday, so I really only know stories and just like knowing, you know, knowing the OGs and knowing the OGs that I don't know or heard of or know of or seen that stuff in some type of way or form or fashion. It's like it's really amazing that, like, you know, you can go to open mic, you know, back then when y'all was coming up and just see all y'all just like at an open mic back to back to back. Like it's really insane, you know. Uh, so yeah, again, I'm just honored and grateful to be around y'all for real, because the pen is crazy. So I'm really, you know, a stickler. I'm really hard on myself when I'm putting out work, just because, like, you know, there's a caliber you need to be at, you know, especially hanging
What the
around that.
hell?
You good? You hit? You froze?
Oh my God. Oh no, my power went out. What the hell?
Oh shit.
Hey, Nate, she's been having electrical issues.
That's all good.
I apologize. We apologize. We also know stuff happens.
Yeah.
Um, so I could hear her, but I didn't want I don't want her stuck on this screen. Because I was listening to the interview, and am I prepared to ask a question in this moment? No. What I know you don't want to talk about your next project. So let's just say, what would you like to do, like in the next like 5-6 years? Like, what would you like to see your programming do?
Uh, well, in a short explanation is just, you know, to create a deaf poetry jam type of vibe like I was in the 80s,
Mhm.
and uh for a place for, you know, us to be. Um when it comes to productions, it wasn't really something I was looking at doing. Um someone kind of like told me I should, and
Mhm.
once I obliged on even trying to think about doing my own show, I would never plan on doing my own show. I was like, okay, what is the show? What am I doing? What am I here for? And when I thought about it, it's like, where can you go to see professional poets? Like, you know, you don't really, you know, generally speaking, you don't really know if you're not tapped in. If you know what I'm saying? You can go around the corner to the Baltimore Soundstage, see rappers, artists, music. You got the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra. You got the Lyric. You can see all these different phenomenal art forms at a high level, on a major level, nationally. You know, um, so I was just wanting to create a place for poetry like that, because, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to open mics, and it's just like, okay, I could randomly, you know, wait to see, you know, Slangston Hughes or, you know, Eat a Poet or someone come in one night, you know, to really captivate it all. But
Mhm.
where can I just want to go to a show where if I want to see professional poets, you know. Baltimore Soundstage got singers and rappers every weekend.
Mhm. Now, you do your events at, or you were doing your events at Arena Stage, I believe, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I was at Arena Players. I love Arena Players. That's home base right there. Uh, but so I've been there since 2017. I did my first couple shows there. I really don't. I think I'm on like 7 or 8 now. I don't keep an count. Um, but I did my first couple shows there, and it's great. I love Arena Players. I love the old black box theater feel.
Mhm.
And then, you know, Arena Players is one of the oldest African American theaters in the nation. You know, it's a national um, landmark for real, and we don't really see it being treated as such. You know, um, so yeah, a lot of things need to change over there as far as like as far as like the community, not even the community, the you know, it's a national landmark. You know, we should be getting funding for the things that they're going over there. They have program every year. They have youth theater and stuff every year. That is, yeah, we got to give back to that. It's a really beautiful place there.
How did you work? How did you decide? Not how did you decide? How did you make the connection inside that theater space to be able to do these shows there?
Um, do a friend. I was going to do my show at somewhere else.
Mhm.
So there was this guy. He had his name Bruce. He had this place called the Creators Club, and I was going to do the show there. That place fit like 100 people seating, something like that. And so he's the one who convinced me to do a show. He was like, "Yo, you should do your own show." And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I just, you know, do my features, go home." He was like, "No, you should really do your own show. You know, here, use the space, you know, design a show, do a show." And once I was convinced, I had planned to do the show there for 75 people because they're like, I don't fucking know.
Mhm.
um, and so 2 months before the show, he was like, "Yo, we shutting down. You gotta find somewhere else for you to do the show."
Mhm.
And so he gave me a list of places, a list of contacts, and Arena Players was on the first list. So I connect. That's how I got to connect through him. Um, and yeah, it was just exactly what was needed.
Okay. Pardon my delay in my next
No, you
question.
good.
Just, you know, I'm making sure because it looks like Girl Genius is trying to come back in.
It is
Um,
good.
and we apologize to everyone. There is some
It was good.
electrical issues going on. Hello,
We
Kaniki.
understand. We understand. What's up?
Hey, don't you hate it when the venue situation? I mean, that's not even a question, right? I'm saying, don't you hate it when, but like when venues happen and then your place shuts down and all of this, and this is why
Mhm.
we need our own space. You understand what I'm saying? This is
Yeah,
why.
no.
This
That's
is
that's
why.
definitely the future.
Yeah, because high five to the sky on Will the Real One who
Mhm.
had his own venue, right? Some
Mm,
real estate and created a space that was space of ownership, right? So I
mm,
mean that was one of the last things he told me before his passing is, we need our own space. You know what I'm saying? Something that people can't take away from you.
yeah,
Because you know what happens once the space start doing real good, then a lot of times the other space needs more money. That's why we need our contracts in place too. So if you don't have one of those, be sure that you
mm,
do have a contract in
definitely
place.
sign your contracts.
Yes, because the business of poetry is a whole different lane, right?
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you're
for sure.
not just an artist, but you are an artist trying to create a platform for other people to perform. Sometimes people don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So yeah, I mean, so definitely shout out for you for being able to make that move, so quickly and having a people to reach out to in order to find another space. But
oh yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
look for some grants. Definitely, you might have to look into being a nonprofit yourself.
Yeah, this was back in 2017. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't even like, you know, I wasn't even thinking about doing this as a profession. Like art is new is not new for me as a person, but it's new for me as in like something to do professionally.
Right.
I've been doing art since I was 8, in
Right.
some type of form, facet, or whatever. And so like this is now just becoming a business because it is one, not because I
Mhm.
wanted it to be, because I don't, you don't really got no choice.
That's right.
You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying?
Okay, it looks like we have Girl Genius back.
So we
Yeah.
gonna back on out.
Hello.
Let me tell y'all how wonderful technology is. I am actually doing this StreamYard from my phone. My power is okay. We had a transformer blow. That's why you heard me yell, "Oh no!" Like
And
I
we
heard
good.
it blow up, and this is the second time today. So there is no power in this house, but I'm still gonna make this show work because that's what I do.
We good. We good. It's good.
It'll come back on in a few minutes. I'm so not worried about it. Like,
Yeah.
listen, this interview is gonna happen. I'm gonna make this work. The
Yeah.
tech is here. My phone is charged, and I don't care. I'm enjoying this conversation. I was trying to look up. While before we got cut off, I was looking up the Robert Glasper album. It's not that one. Radio 3 has another poet on it though. It has Amir Suleiman,
Yep. Yep.
who
Yep. Radio 3
who
fire.
who weirdly enough, I actually started being really serious about poetry when I lived in Atlanta,
Hmm.
and I used to do open mics with that dude.
Wow.
Loved him dearly. And
Yeah.
so I came up in that scene, and I used to be like, please don't put me behind him. Like, I don't care who else goes on the list before me. Just please don't put me behind Amir.
Right. And that's another reason why I enjoy and wanted to get into producing the shows is because of like these people that you're seeing at these open mics really like that. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers here today at this open mic. Tomorrow they doing poems in studio with in all different type of facets in TV, movies, music. You know, it's just amazing to be around.
I can't tell
Or
you how many people I have met along the way where one minute we're doing an open mic and next minute they're doing world tours. They're winning Grammys and Emmys and literally Tonys and you know uh just doing all the amazing things and you're like I'm team cheer for everybody. I'm literally team cheer for everybody because I'm like I know you and I slammed against you or I performed with you or something happened and oh my God, I can't believe we're here now.
yeah, it's now for me it's not even a can't believe anymore. It's just like,
You don't
about
know.
fucking
Now you
time.
don't know. Now you don't know who it is. It could be anybody.
It's about and in Baltimore, it's damn near anybody. It's that different. The art scene is full. The cup is running over. You know what I'm saying? Like in every form, facet, the music, the visual art, the contemporary art, the fine art. Just art in general. Jazz, dance, theater. It's so many phenomenal artists in the city that really,
That's one thing I'll say. Uh,
wow.
Baltimore is one of those. I told you, it keeps going off and on. People people sleep on Baltimore, and they really, really shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like the scene. Now we have people on this show from literally all over the world, right?
Mhm.
We've had West Coast people, we had all kinds of folks on here, but we dip into Baltimore quite a bit because I'm located here, and of course, everybody else has connections here in Baltimore. People sleep on Baltimore. The art scene here is freaking
Wow. It's
just
wild.
ridiculous. If you just realize the amount of talent coming out of this place, it's
Wild.
insane.
It's wild.
The whole DMV for that matter, but the whole DMV area, but
Mm.
specifically Baltimore, yeah.
No,
Bunch of just crazy talent here.
it's really different. Like literally the only thing we miss in this industry. That's not even to get in the comedy and in the film world, and it's it's just every pocket of every art form is
Absolutely.
here.
Absolutely.
That's not getting to fashion and design.
It's really not.
That's not getting to graphic design. Like
It's not. And it's one of the reasons that I'm actually very happy that I made this place, my home. I'm moved here permanently, not that long ago. I've been in Baltimore maybe 6 years, 7 years, something like that.
yeah,
So like this is one of those, I'm so glad I discovered the art scene here, because when I tell you, like you, for instance, good God, like I do remember the first time I saw you on stage.
mm.
I do remember, like you made an impression.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Mm. Yeah,
Like
no,
there's just an abundance of
yeah,
just
yeah,
truly talented next level things happening in this city.
yeah. And that's another reason why I'm again so critical about the things that I put out, because it's like it's not even looking at a competition sense, but as a iron sharpens iron type of thing. It's like out like these artists are phenomenal. Like I need to be at on a certain level as well. I need to be giving my all. I need to be doing the best me. Best me, not the best them, or comparing them to themselves as I compare me to me. Is like being around all these artists and in every shape or form. It's like, yo, all right, like you really got to do the work and really have to um create with a meaning, create with a sense of like something, something. You're not just creating, just create. Is like it's the stuff that moves, stuff that is meaningful, intentional, has stories, has messages. Um, yeah, it's just really wild.
And again, I will tell you how much I appreciate the intentionality in all the projects.
Yeah.
Let's see, what did I not ask about yet? Because we're coming up on, I probably have a few more questions, and then I'll bring everybody else in to ask things. And
Okay.
I will also say that if there's anybody on the live stream that in the audience that would like to ask questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, and someone will, ask the questions and all the things. Go ahead and start doing that now. We get some really thoughtful and really
Mm,
great questions from like the people that watch the show, and
okay.
you'll get some. And I also tell you that because we keep these up forever, we keep these up on
All right.
YouTube and Facebook. If anybody goes back and watches, like I'm telling you, gems that come out of this show, just my God.
Yeah.
What are I guess, because you do so many things,
hmm
the slash always comes with challenges. What would you say have been like the biggest challenges you've come across
Trying
in any of the directions?
what, individually or as a whole?
Either or, however you choose to answer that question.
As a whole, is trying to find time to do nothing. Um.
Somebody here gonna ask you about self-care.
Uh. Okay, we'll get there. But ask the question again.
Like what are the biggest challenges you find? Like normally, like I said, when I do this interview, I
Okay.
normally talk about books, and like sometimes we'll get into the publishing aspects, and people will tell me it's hard to find a publisher, or it's hard to find time to write, or it's hard to find time to do not just time, but they'll say like here's this big block that I come across more often than not. Like I know mine is, I think my biggest challenge has always been dedicating time to enough time, not just time, enough time to my poetry. Like I like to. It takes me a while to write because again, I'm one of those like you. I'm intentional about the things that I do. So I sit down. I can't just sit down and ever write in one like fell swoop. Like I never do that. I never write something in one fell swoop. I think if it's rare. If it comes out that way, it's great. Keep it moving. Let's go. You know what I mean? But it's rare that I sit down and write something in one fell swoop. So I have to have like a dedicated amount of time to go, okay, I'm not going to do anything else other than concentrate on this one thing.
Yeah, I got you.
But I mean, it could be whatever. I mean, when I'll tell you, when I can't write, when I don't believe in writer's block, it does not exist. It's not, writer's block is not a thing. It does. I had a professor change my perspective on this. I had a graduate school professor who told me, and I'm probably paraphrasing this, but the gist of it is that writer's block is simply a fear that whatever you have in your head will never be as good once you get it on paper.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
That what you're thinking, the writer's block is the fear of putting it down because you don't think it's going to be as good as what's up here.
I don't necessarily agree with that, if we're being honest, because I have a lot of bad poems.
Oh, I didn't say you couldn't write bad poems.
You know,
I'm talking about why we have writer's block. You can have bad poems.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong with having bad poems. You write the bad poems to make way for the good ones. I have plenty of bad poems. I have catalogs of bad poems. They're bad, and I know they are, and they'll never see the light of day, and that's perfectly fine. You know what I do? I go back and take the bad poems and go, okay, this was a good concept. Let me rewrite this, do some edits, chop, screw, take the lines out, and do whatever. I save even the bad things because somewhere in there's something I can use. But I'm talking about like not being able to write at all. Like this whole idea of just not being able to write a poem, not worried about being bad. If it's bad, it's bad. But at least I've written something. I'm ahead of the game if I've written something, even if it's horrible.
Yeah, I agree. I really don't like I haven't, like right now, as a writer, you write every day in some shape or form capacity, you know what I'm saying? But I will say I haven't been really like, I don't have, I wouldn't call it writer's block, but I haven't really been writing because I really don't have anything to say.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah, so a lot of times, even I could just speak for myself, traditionally before when I first started writing, I thought it was writer's block. I thought I had writer's block and stuff like that. But sometimes I just didn't have anything to say. And I was trying to say something or, do this thing that I don't have anything to say right now. So of course, is the skill of it and the practice of it. So, I might write a poem here or there or, something here, mess around with wordplay or just dissecting words and shit like that with writing. But like I really haven't been writing poems at the same time, because it's like I really don't have anything to say. So if we were talking generally speaking before I had this thought process, I would tell you I would have writer's block right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
you've written something, but you can write something. If you write the word the on a page, you are ahead of the game because at least you got something written. It don't have to be a poem. It doesn't have to be a finished poem. I had to let go of the idea that I had to write something finished and polished like on the first go because the editor of me wants to go no, 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 and the writer of me is like, can you shut up and just let me actually get the words out? Until I end up fighting myself and nothing ever gets written. I had to stop doing that. You're right, though. Sometimes there's a difference between writer's block and not having anything to say, in which case I will paraphrase, and Kaniki can correct me. I paraphrase, 13 said this. I paraphrase him. He said, sometimes in order for you to have something to say, you have to go out and do something to have something to write about. Yeah. Like sometimes you have to do the things and live the life and then come back to it when you have something.
Right. And sometimes it takes time. Especially when it comes to writing, I'm absorbing. When I first started writing the book and I wrote the majority of the book, I just had time. I was just absorbing. I was, watching movies all the time, and I didn't have no job. I was, living a good little life for a second.
Listen, I got snowed into my house for 3 weeks and wrote a novel. Stop playing. like when you have time, you have time. I got snowed into my house when we had back when we had snowpocalypse and wrote an entire book.
like
Yeah,
a
so
nonfiction book at that. Like I wrote an entire book because I had 3 weeks of being snowed in my house. When you have time, you have time. But
yeah. So sometimes you know it just takes time to accumulate what you think is
you're also
things.
young and you have a life and you have things and you have the experiences, the things to talk about will come even out of the most mundane things.
Yes. But you know, I would again say that some people may be calling it writer's block when it may be also you don't have something that you want to say that you feel. It's not that you can't write anything. It's like I don't what clicks for me, even if it's, you know, not necessarily something that's good or something, you know, that's going to be your next blockbuster poem, but like I got writer's block because you know, I can write this, but I'm not feeling it, and what am I doing? If I'm
Yeah.
just writing just to write, if it's not practice, okay, of course practice, you know what I'm saying? Write is to write
Yeah,
the
yeah,
practice and shit like that.
yeah,
But you know,
yeah.
I don't with the writing, I don't try to force it. I want it to be authentic. I want to take my time. I want to be very, very critical from a literary standpoint, you know, because this shit matters. As one of the reasons, as one of the reasons why, in the poem, in the book, if it's a poem, it does not have punctuation. I took out I took out all punctuation. Well, not even took out. I didn't add punctuation when I took it from paper to online or even to notes to PDF. I I told I'm not doing punctuation because it's too technical, and it's like and then you get into different people preferences of the technicality. You know what I'm saying? One professor might agree that the sentence structure should be this way. Another one agree the sentence structure should be this way. You should have put the comma there instead of there. Um, and I want
I'm a technical writer by
to,
profession.
yeah,
I have to tell myself to ignore that stuff when I am writing or editing poems.
but that's why I
I
just
have
threw
to
it out.
switch gears
That's why
because
I
the
just threw it out.
technical writer in me is like, no, 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 no. And the poet in me is like,
Yeah. So,
matrix
but
rules, what rules? You know, it's
yeah, but
not
you know,
it's the thing. You can do that. You can break all the, I think that's why I love poetry. Someone says you can break all the things
yeah, and
and
not
no
even
one
break.
cares.
It's not even because I don't feel like I broke the rule with punctuation. I just
Chose not to use them.
no, I just used it. I used it a different way actually. And if we getting deep on it, like because now, cause you know, your commas and your periods is all these are all signals and things to tell you when to take a breath, when to pause, you know how it you would hear it if it was, you know, on paper and stuff like that.
Of
But
course.
instead of doing it that way, instead of having commas, now I'm breaking up the line structure and I'm breaking, and that's where the words are. You know what I'm saying? Like it instead of writing a comma, now I just went down to another space and I put that and I broke it up and make, instead of one line with a comma, now it's two lines because I'm gonna say it like that anyway. So instead of like trying to tell you that a comma that is here to announce that fluctuation or pause or anything that I'm trying to convey with my punctuation, I'm just boom. Now you know that I'm trying to say it in a different way because you gotta take a space. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where words are placed. So I put the words in place to flow. Exactly how how you would hear if I was reading it. Um, yeah, it's very intentional.
Oh yeah, yeah. When I say
Like
rule break, when I
go
say
ahead.
rule break, what I mean is they're never were to begin with. Like,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, you can
yeah,
put things where you know, like I will put
yeah,
punctuation in the middle of a line. I don't
yeah.
care at this point. It's not a there's not unless I'm doing something that like a form poem or something that already has its own rules and I don't have anything to do with that.
Mm,
And again, that will be on purpose,
mm,
you know.
yeah,
Yeah, that's again why I love poetry. You can just kind of play with things, play with all the
yeah,
things.
yeah.
I probably have, let me see, I probably will ask you 2 more questions and
Okay,
then
I'm going to jump out and I'm going to jump out and then I'm going to have my co-hosts come in and have all the people ask all the questions.
Okay.
So, and I usually I have one last question I always say for the very, very, very end of the interview, but we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. So let me see. Actually, you know what? Let me just go ahead and ask you this.
Mm.
Since we're discussing books and things and we were talking about music, what is your favorite either book, author, quote, all three, doesn't matter, could be from a movie, could be from a book, it could be from like somebody, it could be from like one of the 20 million bajillion phenomenal artists you know. Like what is the thing that you, the quote, the thing you live by, the thing you say often, the thing you want to impress upon people?
Mm. Um.
What is the motto?
So my motto is really simple. It's just if it feels right, do it. If it don't feel right, don't do it. And I really I live by that in pretty much all facets of my life, but specifically art. Since we're talking about art, is like if it don't feel right, I'm not gonna do it. Um, I have no fear of like stopping things and changing ideas and changing concepts because if it don't feel right, I'm not gonna do it. Um, because it just that you already got the bet. Because everything is a feeling process. Art is a very feeling process. I like to feel things through. Like for it to make sense. But also, again, just the feeling process of things is very real. So if it feels right, do it. If it don't feel right, don't do it. That's what everything, all my ideas and stuff like that is like, yeah. And then be open minded and be open minded and be willing. Um, Especially when it comes to your own art. I'm very another reason why I be like I don't know and real because I don't be knowing. I really be open to my art and what is trying and what is trying to be said. Um, Not only from me but through me. So sometimes these these things come at at a weird not a weird time but just as a feeling. So it's like I just try to act on the feelings with the art.
No, that's a great thing. That's a great thing to have in your back pocket. You know what I mean? That's a great thing to a great sort of motto quote to go with.
Yeah,
Because then you understand that when people do stuff, they're authentic because they won't do it if they don't feel it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like be who you want to be, all that crap and stuff like that. But when it comes to the art, like just you gotta be authentic when it comes to this shit for real. Like like I'm not here. I'm not doing art because I necessarily want to. I'm doing art because this is what I feel. These are the thoughts that are on my mind. These are the ideas that prick my head. Niggas got some Jordans or some women may have a purse that's always on their mind. Is like, oh, I need to do whatever I need to do to get this, or da, 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 or those things, those ideas, those constant things, even the household, whatever case may be. It's just things that be on your mind and stay in your process that you feel like you have to do. And I do art because I feel like I have to do it. It's something that's on my mind all the time. It's a hobby. Even if even before I would think about doing it professionally, this is what I do for fun. At the same time, so it's like making music. It's like you might think I'm working, and I am working, but at the same time, it's like this is me watching Netflix or you know
Hey, it's work. It's work, and you got it. You're there. I am going to mute myself. I'm going to have somebody else pull me off of the feed, if you don't mind. I'm going to have you do a last piece, and then I come back and ask and have my co-host ask questions. So,
okay. Oh shit. All right. I'm gonna do another poem out this book because I'm trying to sell this book. You should buy my book. It's $20. Only $20. Where do I want to go? Oh, let's go here. What a gift God has humbled me with. Still trying to figure out why I'm so deserving of this. But maybe I should stop being so pensive before God comes to his senses and realizes that I'm not deserving of this. This angelic beauty with the temper of Angelica, but clearly a girl who's all grown up compared to these fake girls, these Cynthias, beauty queen from a movie scene. The only reason why I show up to these cinemas, I love her Cinnabons, my how her river runs. I take off this collar and I soak in her tub like I'm Reverend Run. I give it to her, she runs. She gives it to me like I just had to have it. She, even on her worst day, I still look at her as if she was Jessica off of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. She's a habit, an addiction that no 12-step program can help me get rid of. See, Mary's still searching my girl, getting that real love. Jada and Will love, Claire and Cliff love, and what other couple you think falls in the category I'm thinking of. I mainly talk to God about ways to make sure she never leaves. See, my homies hit my phone like, yo, we going out, we getting lit tonight. I tell my Justice League I'm staying in the crypt tonight. They know Lois Lane has always been my real kryptonite. And yes, this is just another anticipational love poem I wrote in the crib one night. I go to sleep and envision these poems are real some nights. I guess I'm just a overthinking, hopeless, romantic, believing in love stories like Titanic, having a love like Jack and Rose, or Cinderella, a prince finally finding what he's been searching for. See, all these anticipations I'm craving, all these visions I'm raving, and I need you to Simone so I can give you all this love. I'm just a bad guy praying for a good girl who I'll still treat like a queen after she gives it up. And even if I've been mean, I want to make it up. And she'll never stop giving me chances, knowing I'll be fucking up. Man, I know what I want, but you can't buy love. I know niggas who try. Peace.
Hey, Nate.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, wait a second. Get Danielle back. All right, we got everybody. Hello.
What's up?
First of all, I want to start by saying thank my co-host for holding me down. As y'all can tell, like my power has gone off and on like 10 times while we were talking.
And it was crazy. Now you have that bad weather when I had it the last time.
It's not even bad weather. We're just having rolling blackouts.
Yeah, it's really chill outside for real.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not raining or anything. They're literally just, my neighborhood has been having rolling blackouts since about 4 this afternoon. So,
that's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Right. So thank God for technology. Thank God for my fabulous co-host, and thank you for staying with me through all of this. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah,
I
went to pick up the baby, and then next thing I heard Sherry talking. I said, "What happened? What I missed? What's that?" Yeah. But Sherry,
well, apparently rolling blackouts.
Nate, I believe that Sherry never gets off of StreamYard because anytime I log on, she's always here. I believe she never logs off of StreamYard. I think she's always like the StreamYard. That's always there because if anything happens technology-wise, if you look back at any of our streams, Sherry is the first one to pop on and be like, if your power go off, if you get frozen, I don't know what kind of juju she got.
Yeah,
right there. Yes, and I'm here. And what's going on? Then let me ask you some questions.
What kind of system you running over there? What kind of outlet you got?
I'm trying to tell you.
I'm gonna tell you all the truth. Before all of that happened, I got up, I washed my dishes. I was like, okay, everything sounds like it's going fine. I sat down. 5 minutes later, she's
you and Danielle. Oh my God!
I'm also usually the person.
I didn't know what was happening.
I'm usually the person that handles the tech end over here.
Right.
Like I never have this happen. Like this never do we like power goes out. Oh, we're good. We're fine. Everything's good. But for some reason, my neighborhood has had bowling blackouts all afternoon. Thank you, Baltimore City.
Wow.
So if you have a question for Nate, now is your time to go ahead and drop it in the chat. We'll be more than happy to ask him whatever it is you would like to know. I already got a few of my questions in earlier, so I'm going to open it up to my teammates here.
I want to know, why poetry? You said art's been part of your life for a long, long time. You had the choice. Why poetry?
I can ask you the same question.
The hardest thing that you can do to make you said it in your interview that nobody's trying to give no money for it. But shout out to the Academy of American Poets who just gave me $50,000 grants. Shout out to them. I said, listen, let me take that back. Somebody trying to give some poems. So
just Main Street wise. I really don't know. If you're being honest, I never thought I was even would be a poet. If we being honest, like, I wanted to be an athlete.
Nice.
But I've been doing music since I was 8, in some form or facet. So poetry just kind of stumbled upon, maybe because through writing songs, because I was just trying, like, at one point just trying to write songs and make music. So I think the poetry came out of that and trying to, write verses. And then also I can attest that that poetry jam really kind of like pushed me to a sense, because I know in theater class, I think it's my senior year, I had theater class or whatever, and we had to do like a monologue. It could even be like a poem or we could even use rap lyrics. And at the time, I think it was what 808s and Heartbreaks and stuff was going on. So I'm a big Kanye fan. So then I had typed in Bittersweet because it was that's actually my favorite song by Kanye. And I never seen a Def Poetry Jam before. So I think once I seen that, I was like, oh, if this is poetry, okay, now I could do this. I understand what it is. Growing up is all Walt Whitman, oh, Captain, my Captain, and fucking Shakespeare and shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck your Captain. But yeah, I think that's what it is. But other than that, I really don't know. It's just a feeling. Like I said, I just be doing what I feel.
Yeah. So did anybody tell you were a poet? Or when did you just pick up the poetry title?
And what, so as far as like in my name, or just
no, not in your name. At some point, that as a singer, if you can sing, you start singing when you're young or whenever somebody says you can sing. So somebody said what you're writing is poetry. Somebody called you a poet. Who affirmed you for poetry or told you that you were a poet?
I would have to say, in a sense, my best friend, Kayla, that's really my heart. For real. I used to spit my poems in the car for her. So we used to, she lives around the corner from me. We grew up together. So it was like, once I started writing to, like, just as a hobby, I used to spit my poems for her in the car, and she was like, yo, you gotta do something with this. And she took me to open mic. She took me to my first open mic. And that's how I got into this.
Always a woman.
Yeah, it's always a woman. Like, no, for real. Shout out to women, specifically Black women. For real. Like, I don't, like, everything I do is because of Black women. Like, for real. My support staff, people who help me with my shows, people who help me with all my creative ideas. Like, it is a woman, if you're being honest. So, I'm very appreciative of Black women. Because I wouldn't be getting half this shit done. It would still be ideas.
I hear that. So in your early writings, what was your subject matter? What did you write about?
Just random shit. To be being honest, it was just like I really don't look back at the books. I was just saying random things. I have all my books that I started my early writing in. Yeah, it is, but it's not, because it's all trash.
Well,
it's all trash. It's really like no, none, I don't want none of it to see the light of day for real. Like I went to the Basquiat Museum, the Basquiat exhibit in New York, and he was showing all his, never seen before works and shit. And I'm like, I hope that doesn't happen for me because I don't want y'all to see these
Like we
poems.
don't.
Like,
Hey, when you better burn it.
yeah, but no, I really wasn't. I really wasn't taking writing serious. Like for me, so I have. Let's just put it in perspective of some basic numbers. I say, because I have at least 1,000 poems. Out of 1,000 poems, I think about 40 of them are good, and 27 of them are in this book. That's how critical I am.
Good is relative, right?
Yeah,
Because
only my perspective.
Your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because we think it's trash, but sometimes it's not trash. You know what I'm saying? At least the subject matter or the thought behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's truly only my perspective. Because I just be trying to just get to the best of my ability and the best that I can do. So I really try to narrow it down, and really be critical about the things that I'm putting out.
Yeah, because you definitely, when you put a poet before your name.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened either.
You don't know how?
I don't. I really don't. It's been my Twitter name since I had a Twitter in high school. It's always been my name.
That's
But
a
I
good
don't know how.
manifestation.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't know the like actual moment where I thought about it or it transpired. But yeah, it's stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask one more question. So we have discovered that your early writings was trash. So now we want to know all the great works that you have. Who is your writing for? What group of people? Who is it for?
Um, as far as outside of the actual stories and content of what it's about, I think my writing is for writers. I really try to use my words carefully. I love the play on words. I love what we can do and how we can bend and use words. So at its core, it's for writers. Because I really wanted to make sure I was giving the craft a good a just due. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to be like out here putting out books and saying I got books because I really wanted to make sure of that way. But also with the stories is for everyone about um, love and really what it is and the different levels of love and how that transpires with us. Um, I think that with Anticipational Love Poems, I try to, you know, break down just about every kind of general sense of scenario of how love might show up in your life. Um, and even though it's centered around romance, it could be taken out of romance and just centered of how, our relationships are. And you really just don't know what it could be. So, in the type of love that you create with certain people. So I try to keep it broad and just keep it for people who are anticipating love or have love or want to talk about love more. Because Girl G was talking about, we don't talk about love. And, all right, here's a reason to talk about love.
All right, I love that. I love it. Because I love some love. Yes.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna kick it on to this guy. I be talking, so I'm gonna kick it to you. So I'm gonna be talking.
I was thinking while you were talking, poet named Nate, that I have poems that like you said, there's the page poem and then there's stage poems, and I've written them and then put them in a book, and then they don't always translate the same, and I've always battled with that. But there are pieces that I've written that I wouldn't normally share, maybe at an open mic. It either just didn't seem like it was going to be exciting enough, but every now and then I'll do poetry readings, which is a
Mhm.
little different. It's a little different vibe, so it may be more appropriate for that. And I still may be like, this is kind of basic, but here I'm going to do this piece. And it's amazing to me how those pieces that I don't think much of or wouldn't think would have a reaction are the ones that the hearer is most fascinated by.
Yeah.
And what that has done for me is, I'm still working on that, but what it has done for me has shifted my thought process when I think about my work to say, like Nikki's asking, who is your writing for? And in the beginning, it is for me.
Mhm.
But at some point, particularly as a poet who shares her work or a poet who shares their work, at some point, it's not just for you.
Yeah.
And then who decides if it's trash or not? It may not be you any longer, right?
No, yeah.
That makes sense. So
Yeah.
I think we all have trash in our repertoire, but it's trash to us. And you'd be surprised sometimes who is enamored by something you didn't think much of. So that's always curious to me about poetry.
Yeah. I think it's like that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's like that with I'm just a nitpicker. I try to put out the best. Like even like I do these beat tapes of just like I sample music and sample beats with I get think of concepts and do a whole like sample of different beats for that project and try to get it to 7 songs. And then I put it out. Like this new one I'm working on, normally I would do like top 7 out of 10 or something like that. Like I'm branching through 38 and trying to get my top 7 out of 38.
Wow.
And this is just something that I'm doing as just to do, So yeah, I'm just really a stickler about the level and how good something can be. Because a lot of times I realize for myself, a lot of times the things I'm doing in any shape or form or facet aren't as good just because I didn't take the time to think about the idea or think about what I'm doing enough to be like, okay, and for it to be a full, complete project,
Got it. No, that makes sense. And it makes sense because you are serious about your craft. And you know what I'm saying? So that, and as a result of you being so serious about your craft, whatever you put out, it's intentional. It's very focused. So even the subpar things probably to the average person is above par because you're already intense about your craft.
Yeah.
My question, I don't have many questions. I think a lot of them they've asked them already, but what are you most proud of at this point in your life, at this moment? What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? As like an individual accomplishment or how about
however you interpret that, whatever comes to your heart.
I would say I'm most proud of the films. I'm really, 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 really proud of the films. One, being able to work with Kirby Griffin is just, this man different. He was he's got credits on Netflix for Really Love and a whole bunch. He had like 3 Netflix credits. We can go down the line of his great cinematography and photography. And then Nia June, she's such a phenomenal writer and storyteller. I'm just really, that just really takes the cake for me, for real. The films is because it's really something above us all.
Yeah.
That is really magnificent. If you haven't watched it, definitely watch it. Black Girls Country is only 4 minutes and some change on YouTube. And Unveiling of God is a 20-minute short film. And it'll be able. It's still circulating some film festivals. So once the film festival is done, we'll be showing it more. But it's just like, let's just speak on A Black Girl's Country is shot in Baltimore. Everyone there lives in Baltimore, from Baltimore. It's over 50 Black women in that film that we saw. Is just going around, like everything from top to bottom is all there. Even Unveiling of God is over 100 Black community members from Baltimore, all shot in Baltimore. All the soundtrack, every artist on the soundtrack is a Baltimore artist. is just really intense in that way. And then also, just I think I did the best thing. Yeah, I think I did my best music that I put out. And this is actually the first time I've put out music that wasn't like hip hop or anything like that. It's classical music. And I'm really proud of that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Mm.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's really critical. And then for the Unveiling of God in the Maryland in the Baltimore Museum of Art now. So it's like
Yeah, that's
you know it's really humbling, really honoring because it's above me. I never we did Unveiling a Black Girl's Country in 2019. It took us 3 months to film it. We put it out July 2019. Before then, I never thought I would be doing film. You
mm,
know, never even thought about doing film in that regard. Especially like right now. And now we went our second film is in film festivals. Is doing what it's supposed to do, and it's really humbling.
would you say that, because I think that's fascinating. There are things that you're doing that I've in my mind would love to do, like, but I don't do that. So I'm like,
Mm,
okay. And in my mind, like, either you just gonna have to stop this and then throw yourself into that. So it's hard for me to imagine picking up some of these things. In my mind, I always say I was a photographer in my previous life, like if I had
yeah,
one, or I'm shooting. In my mind, I have all these things, but to do it and then try to do it professionally is like seemingly beyond me. Would you say that it your creativity begets more creative, because you're very intense about your craft? So if does that just lend itself to diving into another area of creativity, or are these things that you are just naturally talented at and you just like, oh, I'll do this today? Or is one thing kind of birthing another, if that makes sense?
um, it's kind of like I'm just good at it. I'm trying not to be too boastful,
No,
but it's
that's
kind of like I'm really good at it. I'm really good at art. Like I said, I've been doing art in some shape or form since I was 8. I have an ear for, I have a vision, and I have a feeling. I understand with a feeling of of the art that I'm trying to create or that's creating through me. Um, so yeah, I just be it's just what I'm good at. I'm good at it,
awesome.
and I want to uh show it in a way that that is meaningful. And especially with the productions, with the poetry productions, like I want to be great at that and have a certain level, just because I want to see these artists at a certain level, you know, um, and my poetry friends at a certain level, which I isn't here. That area, it wasn't, or on a regular level, on a traditional normal day-to-day basis, as far as like seeing professional poets and actual poetry productions, and not just open mics and select features and certain niches, but as a a outing, like people would do back in the day. You put on your best suit and you went to the theater and shit. you
Mhm.
know so I want to come bring that aspect back into professional poetry. So I'm just really critical about that, just because I want to be able to show the art in a high way. Because a lot of times the problem is most people don't like poetry because they haven't seen it properly. You know,
Mm.
we haven't seen it properly. Poetry is a very niche. It's very, very picky. Um, but when you're in a proper setting, oh, they haven't seen it, or they don't know how to listen to poetry. Because it's also a method of learning how to listen to what's being said.
Hmm.
But overall, I think a lot of that has to do with the atmosphere. A lot of the shit is in bars and stuff like that, and small venues that's not set up for poetry, which is nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I do open mic at bars and shit too. But when we come into like a, someone as a patriot and not patriot. That's the wrong word. I don't know
patron.
what- patron.
Yes.
The art form and paying, money, like good money, $40, $60, $70 for poetry and shit. Is like you want to give them a show and present it properly. So it's like, oh, this is why, yeah, you wonder why you ain't connect with that poem like that. Yeah, because Shorty was, making a frozen margarita in the background. You know what I'm saying? The energy, the atmosphere didn't hit the back of the room and come back. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wasn't on one accord. People were there for the wrong reason. Motherfuckers just fucking up the energy, fucking up the atmosphere. So it's like, also I think is a matter of like teaching people, like when people come to your open mics and events and stuff like that, you got to teach people how to listen to poetry, teach people how to be in the space. You know what I'm saying? I know how to act when I go to a concert. You know what I'm saying? Like shit, some you know the concert so well that you know how concerts where you here to see the main artist. You can show up at 9 o'clock and the show start at 7. You show up 9:30. Your artist just coming on if you don't want to see the opening acts and stuff like that. And you know how to navigate these other things. And poetry ain't like that. It's not something that you should technically come late to. It's like a on time thing. It's like a one on all on one accord and being able to hear and listen, because when you bundled up, the atmosphere right, you know what I'm saying, and whoever performing is performing, you feel it different. You feel the atmosphere, you feel the energy, you understand what's trying to be said in a way that you really can't see in other places. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to create that space on a high level.
Gotcha.
And I will tell you, I've been to one of your shows. I've been to a couple of your shows actually, and it is a whole experience.
Mm.
It really is a whole experience. It's not it's not the same thing as sitting in a bar. It's not the same thing as sitting in like. It's more akin to like, okay, I've walked into a theater experience. It's a lot different.
Yeah, it's a difference. It's like the difference between watching a movie on Netflix at your house and going to the theater.
Yeah,
To watch a movie that came out. It's like they're both good, but you want to get that atmosphere when you go to the movies. The smell of the popcorn, the speakers, the set, all these things play into how good the movie is. You know what I'm saying? So it's in the overall atmosphere, is like, even for the last one I did, the most recent one, the West Side Poetry I did at Motor House. I built a set. I got more into set design, so I built a corner store. We built an actual front of a corner store, and we had I bought like over $1,000 of fucking candy and snacks and chips just to make it look like a corner store, like we was in the corner store. You know what I'm saying? Just going the extra mile to create the space and being also particular about the artists that I chose for that. Just thinking about how I grew up and how people grow up in the neighborhoods with corner stores. Like these all different type of people that you see, come out the corner store, but you don't even know that they could be a great poet, you know what I'm saying, or a great artist, you know what I'm saying? Like, I chose Gail Danley because she remind me of, of the older woman you might see in the morning going to the corner store or out the day, or walking down the street and she telling you to grab something for, that's you see Conduani Fidel, that's the homie. You might have met you at the corner store. I'm gonna meet you at the corner store, like, you know what I'm saying? Or you got Near June, the beautiful girl in the neighborhood, that you might run into at the corner store. All these people, like Breon, is like, I wanted to, is an overarching theme of even the poets I select for the shows, that fit the theme. It's like I write a list of poets, like all y'all names is on this list of my poetry team, and it's like, when I come up with the idea and I figure it out, it's like, all right, who fits the theme? How does it all play a part? How does it all connect? Like, man, I got 13th on like 1,000 lists, and I just be like, because it's also about timing and presenting, things a certain way.
Mm-hmm. All right, Danielle, Girl Genius, are you ready to deliver the final question?
Ooh.
I am. All right. So this is the hardest question you'll get all night. I promise you. Hardest question. We picked your brain. We've done the things. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now that you've been on the show, and I'll remind you that this is not just, not miss my segment, but you have passion projects, poets and platforms, and from behind the microphone, right, with the other hosts. Who do you think would make a good guest on the show? Whose brain should we pick? Who would you like to see in the hot seat?
Yeah.
It's the hardest question all night.
Man. All right, that's crazy. That's crazy about y'all. I'm gonna ask me a hard ass question and then try to hit me with that.
You don't have to pick one. You can pick a couple. We just like who do our guests want to see. Now we've had a bunch of Baltimore people on this show before, so you may pick somebody we already have, or you may mention somebody we haven't heard of yet.
Nah, y'all, you probably you know who all the people on top of my head I would say.
I'll eliminate anybody that's on the Baltimore Slam team. We've had all of them on here at least once.
I want to see.
I'll eliminate all of them. We've had all of them here at least once.
I want to see. I want to see K-Love.
We haven't had K-Love yet.
That's one of my favorite poets. I love her. I'm so glad she moved to Baltimore.
Me too.
I found it out. I was like, oh yeah, it's about to be up. It's great talent. Great person. She's a really great person. So I would love to hear, how her process and writing and stuff like that. You got
I added Nia June to the list from the jump.
Yeah, you gotta talk. No, Nia June, like Nia really, talk about iron sharper iron. Like, you think I'm particular and Nia different. Like we really be having like our discussions about minute details. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were going over color palettes for the project we're working on now, and we getting real minute in just the fucking color palette, So Nia June is definitely, you want to pick her brain. She's just a genius and is very detail oriented.
I recommend, hey Miss Cayenne, I recommend her for your segment most definitely. She's the / dancer, filmmaker, poet. You want to talk about passion projects?
Yeah, no, she's the one. She wrote both of the films. She's the reason why I'm doing films. She's the reason why I'm a director. Near the truth. One of the great writers. And we actually have written poems for a project together, so I can like really speak on her pen as a writing together. Learn so much. I know you already said no slam team, but I'm gonna say Chakra too, because I've written with Chakra, and I learned so much from writing with Chakra as well. We've
definitely had him.
It's very fucking genius. How simple he makes it is genius as well. Even like trying to show you stuff is like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? And it's just very detail oriented. That man crazy. His knowledge. Real quick. This man is like a huge movie buff. Like we went to Soundgarden one time. Is this place in Baltimore for film, just physical albums and stuff like that. So we was in the movie section. He was like, "Yo, I bet you $5 you can't pick 3 movies off this shelf that I haven't seen." And nobody won. So it's just like how critical he is on. Like he's like, "Oh, I can tell you about this movie. I can tell you about." I'm like, "Would you just turn on the television and watch everything?"
Yes, he does. He watches all the things.
But it's very genius. It's very genius because it's not just because it's his formula behind it and how he puts it back all together and creates poems out of it. It's extraordinary. I learned so much. I was like, damn, I need to watch more movies. But yeah. Goes to K-Love, trying to think of anybody else off the top of my head.
If somebody else comes to you,
Yeah.
Shoot me an
Oh
email.
yeah.
You got
I
my
seen
info. Call
I
me.
seen a
Shoot me an
whole
email.
list.
Perfect.
Oh, we'll take them. Listen, we are legitimately working off of the same list that we started with. We have not gotten to everybody that we came up with, but we've still managed to get through what we're at interview number. I don't know.
I have no idea because we are
50,
Man,
50, if we said on average 50, 50, and 50, we should be, I don't know. I'm going to go with we're over 100 interviews in.
wow.
Over
That's,
100 interviews in.
damn.
I'll have to just for shits and giggles go back and double check. But I know that we go except for holidays and a 2 or 3 week break over December. We're every single week
yeah.
since 2020.
Oh, trust me, man. Shout out to y'all. That's
I know, right?
we're,
Now you're making me curious to go back and find out like how many episodes we actually have
Please
done.
let us know because I'm curious about that now myself. Now that the conversation is out
yeah,
there.
shout out to y'all, man. Cause
Yeah,
I hate social media.
I know. I'm not. The funny part about it is part of my graduate master's degree has to do with social media, and I tell you that it's not my favorite thing in the world.
Oh
I
man.
understand how to use it as a tool to do the things I need to do, but it's not
Yeah.
my favorite thing in the world. I hate taking pictures. I hate taking pictures of myself. Let me clarify. I love taking pictures, just not of myself. Like I don't like being in front of the camera, yet I'm a poet. And how I learned how to be more comfortable with that is nobody else can read this but me, you know.
Yeah, I
I'm a
like being
role
behind the scenes more
contradiction,
too.
but
All right, real quick, everyone in the room and in behind the scenes, let's give a round of applause
Thank
for
you.
a poet named Nate.
I appreciate
thank you, and shout out to all of you for dealing with the things that happen. I appreciate you hanging out, especially, and I'm so glad. I am so happy you were able to be on the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Can I say like one more thing?
Go right ahead.
All right, shameless plug. I got to talk about some things because I'd be, wouldn't be a businessman if I didn't. But me and Kenneth got the Charm City Slam. Now is at the first Thursday of the month. The next one is September 1st.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely want to tap into Charm City Slam, and I host a bunch of open mics throughout the month. So I'm at Charm City Slam is the first Thursday of the month. Then I'm at Good Neighbor for Good Poetry the second Tuesday of the month. Then I'm at New Being Human, which I'm at right now. This is a Black-owned retail store that I manage. So when I'm not doing poetry, I do retail, and so it's a Black-owned space. Everything we sell is made by a Black-owned company throughout the world. So it's a Black-owned space filled with Black-owned things. And I do an open mic here every third Friday of the month, and we have a DC location as well. So I'm there every fourth Friday in DC. So yeah.
I'm pointing at all the websites and the socials so that people we're both doing it. And we're doing this so that people know, like, hey, you always have things going in all the realms. And it's one of the reasons why I was really excited about having you here. So I want people to know all the things are between the socials, the socials, the website, find the book, find the films, find the music, find the event. Find all the things. Like I'm telling you, you don't know what you're missing until it's an experience. Do things.
And also, we do have it scrolling here at the bottom of the screen. His Cash App and his Jeep and his I see it. PayPal. I wrote it. I put it in there. His Cash App and his PayPal. So please feel free if you can't get the book today. You got $1. Reach out to him. Give him a follow on social media, even though he says he doesn't use it, but he will be promoting.
I do. I'll be on Instagram sometimes, like for the most part.
Promote the show. So the shows are always there. Go to a show. If you happen to be in town, go to a show. If you're in DC, go to a show. If you're in Baltimore, go to a show.
That's what it's about. I feel like I'm an old soul, like an old man. Shit. Like I like the in-person stuff. Like come to a show, all that good stuff. Like social media is just for like business and promoting and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I get caught up in it too, like everyone else. But like, yeah, I like, be in person and be around the energy and just be around art. And this is a great city to be around. be in. There's so much going on, so much to tap into, so many great people to network with and be around. So yeah.
All right. We will be back next week with I know there's passion projects. Look, y'all. Look. I got my point.
Your point happened right. Wow, that's amazing.
The point up this week. Good job.
That's not the right way. That's not the right way.
Miss Cayenne, who we got next week?
Next week rather, we have Derek Weston Brown.
Woo!
Hey.
Yeah, that's gonna be a heavy hitter. So I'm excited about bringing him to this platform and sharing and educating. He featured a few weeks ago at Busboys in Shirlington, and we were all like, the room was like, I just felt like I was in a class. Can we take a class from you? It was almost a unanimous feeling. So I'm excited about the next master class next week. So
that's dope. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Again,
no, thank you.
We appreciate you.
No, I'm really honored for real, because y'all really been doing the thing. I'm just coming up. I'm just starting for real. I feel like I'm in like my sophomore year of art. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really even like graduate to be out here with y'all, and I'm just really appreciative.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
we will be back. So if you are watching, we will be back again next Sunday at 7 p.m. streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, Spotify. Catch our podcast.
I'm dropping all the new. I'm dropping new episodes once a week. I'm dropping past episodes on Spotify. Okay. So just follow and you'll see new ones pop up. I'm saving some of the best ones to drop last, even though they're kind of out of order, but they'd be all right.
No worries. So everyone, please, as we say, stay safe, wash your hands, stay healthy. And you know what? I'm going to do my own shameless plug because, I'm one of the, hosts.
And you better.
Thursday, Poetry at Sunset at the Only Theater Center in Olney, Maryland. Tickets are $20. Jonathan B. Tucker, Natalie Ilham, Dr. Rebecca Dupas, and the legend Tom Acey.
I seen that flyer.
Yes.
That is. I'm gonna be there. Me and the baby.
It's a great venue. It's a great venue too.
It is fantastic.
Great venue.
Where's Maryland? Where's that? I don't know where Maryland.
You know what? You're not the first person to ask this question. Only Maryland is north of Silver Spring.
Well, so it's in DC. I don't know.
It's kind of in Montgomery County. It's in Montgomery County.
It's in between here and Silver Spring. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
It's north of Silver Spring. Oh yeah, from the Baltimore and yes. So
it's between Baltimore City and Silver Spring. It's kind of like in the middle. It's a nice area, but it's tiny. But the venue is really great.
The venue is
It's an outdoor venue.
And I just double checked the weather, and it looks like we should be able to be outside, and it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous night. So Poetry at Sunset.
I would definitely be there, and shout out to Sherry for me living in Virginia and going to my mailbox and getting one of the flyers from Only Theater on like the postcard, like letting people know what's coming at the theater. And I was like, wait, I was about to toss it. I was like, wait, it's Sherry. I was like, now you have met
you on the billboard one day fell out.
You better be in the mailbox. You better.
No, I saw her on the billboards when we did the last event there, and I cracked up. And I was like, oh, Mama, we made it.
We made it. We made it. So again, onlytheater.org for tickets. Simply Poetic Entertainment for more information. But yeah, definitely come out. Again, we will see y'all all next Sunday. Everyone have a good evening. Good night.
Yeah, thank you.